All right, that's good enough. Okay, Ruthann, Richard Silberg. Do you do Ashrei or not so much? Okay. Because it is 6 o'clock and we're moving on, Ruthann, would you please lead us page 164?
Ashrei Yeshvei Beitecha, Hidya Hallelujah, Selah.
Hello, Hashem, Shadonai
Tehillah David, Aremecha Elohai Hamelech, Rabbcha Shimcha Leolam Va'ed. Ador Adonai Im Holamed, Lig de Letoen Cheker. Adar Kaved Hodecha, V'divrei Niflotecha Sicha. Echerav Tubecha Yabi, V'tzidkatecha Yiranenu. Adonai Lako, V'racham Aval Kol Masav. Kavod Malchutecha Yemeru, Ugedulatcha Saprena. Where are you?
I don't know. Where were you? What was the last one you read?
Nun Beruchum Adonai, Erech Apayim Udal Chased.
Adonai Lakol, V'chama Lakol Masav.
Adonai Kol Masacha, V'chasidech Yivarchecha.
V'od Malchutcha Yomeru, V'voratcha Yedaberu.
V'hodi Alivnei Hadam, Gerata, V'chavod Hadar Malchuto.
Go ahead, Jeffrey.
Malchutecha Malchut Kol Olamim, Umemshatecha B'chol Dor V'ador.
Samech Adonai L'chol Hareflim, V'zekef L'chol HaKefifim.
Einei Chol Elecha Yisameru, V'yatanot Elehem Et Echlam B'ito.
Teach Yedacha Ma'asbir L'chol Chayratzon.
Tzadik Adonai B'chol Derachav, V'chasid B'chol Ma'asav.
Karev Adonai L'chol Karav, L'chol Asher Krehu V'emet.
Ratzon Yerav Yaseh, V'yet Shavatam Yishma V'yoshiem.
Shemer Adonai Yakol Hava, V'yet Kol Harshim Yashmid.
Tehillat Adonai Yidaber Pi, V'varech Kol Basar Shem Kocho Le'olam Va'ed.
V'anach Nenevarech Yamei Atov Yad Olam, Hallelujah.
V'anachnu nevarech Yamei Atav Yad Olam, Hallelujah.
I'm going to ask Stephen, you have your site tonight and tomorrow? No? Okay. Go ahead, Ruthann.
Yitkadav Yikadav Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Yalma Divrach Yerute V'yamlech Malchute. V'chayechon V'yamechon. V'chayerocho Beit Yisrael. V'agalav Izman Kariv Imaru.
Amen. Yesh Merabah Megluach. Eolam Leomer Maya Yitbarach.
Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitbar, V'yitramam, V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitala, V'yitalal Shemei Kudesha.
Echo.
Mincho Berchata, V'shirata, Tushbachata, V'nechamata, Damiran B'yama, V'imaru.
Amen. We begin the Amidah on the inside back cover, returning to 168 through the Kedusha responsively, concluding silently.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Ha'gibor V'Neraho El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim B'Konei HaKol V'Zocher Chastei Avot Umevika well Livnei B'neihem L'ma'an Shemo B'Yahava Melech Hazer V'Kedem Moshe Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Abraham V'Ked Sarah
Amen.
Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayem Etim Atarav L'Hoshia Mechalkel Chayim B'Chesed Mechayem Etim B'Rachamim Rabim Samech no flim verufecho limu matira surim. Memekayem menatoli shene afar. Micha melcha bal gevura to mida melach. Melach me mida mechayem atzmech Yeshua. Bene'eman atala hachayet metim. Baruch atah Adonai. Chaye hametim.
אמן. קדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, הכתוב על יד נביאך וקרא זה על זה ואמר.
Nekadesh et shimcha ba'olam kishem shemakdishim et bishmei marom kakatuv ayad neviacha v'kara zel zeviamar.
קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלך הארץ כבודו למותם ברוך ימירו.
Kadesh, 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 Adonai Tzavot, Melech Haaretz Kevodo, Le'umatam Baruch Yameru.
כבוד אדוני ממקומו, דברי קדשך כתוב לאמור.
Baruch Kavod Adonai Mimkamo, V'direi Kodshacha Katuv Le'mor.
ימלוך אדוני לעולם, ולחייך ציון לדור, הללויה.
Yimloch Adonai Le'olam, Elohai Yitzion L'Rabador, Hallelujah.
לדור ודור.
L'Ador Vador Et Nakitod Lecha, U'lenetzach Netzachim Kedushak Techa Nakdish, V'shivcha Elohim Mipinu Lo Yemush Le'olam Va'ed, Ki Al Melech Gadol V'Kadosh Ata, Baruch Atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
Amen. Please continue at your own pace. Ruthann picks up Kaddish Shalem 194.
Yit Gadal V'Yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Yam Adivrach Yirite V'Yam Lich Malchute V'Chayachon V'Yamechon V'Chayedecho Beit Yisrael V'Agalav Yizman Kari V'Yimaru.
Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach Me'olam Le'olam Maya Yitbarach.
Yit Barak V'Yishtabach V'Yit Par V'Yit Ramam V'Yit Naseh V'Yit Adar V'Yit Tala V'Yit Tala Shemei Kudusha.
Echo.
Elam Imko Berchata V'Shirata Tishbachata V'Nechamata Damiran B'Yama V'Yimaru.
Amen.
Ikabat Salatan Uva Utahan B'Cha Yisrael Kadama V'Han Divishma V'Yimaru.
Amen.
Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya. V'chaim Aleinu V'yal Kol Yisrael V'yimeru.
Amen.
Say Shalom Bimrama V'yaseh Shalom. Aleinu V'yal Kol Yisrael V'yimeru.
Amen.
Aleinu L'shabeach Ladon HaKol. Latekedu Lalietze Bereshit. Shelo Asanu Kagoye Haratzot. Velo Samanu Kmishpachot Hadama. Shelo Sam Chelkenu Kahem. Vikoralenu Kechohamonam. Vahanaknu Karim. Umishtakabim Umodim. Lifnei Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ki hamalchut shelcha hi olamei timlok bechavod. Kakatu b'toratecha Adonai yimlok leolam vahed. V'nehemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz. Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad. Ushemo echad. Ushemo echad.
We recall with love those who gave us life and shared life with us. The Yortzeit is Wednesday, 16th of ER, April 28th, 2021. Following names are listed in our perpetual memorials and are inscribed in our hearts and our souls. Nettie Adler, Nathan H. Cohen, Penny Kahn, Fanny Feldman. No, I'm reading the wrong one. Thursday, 17th of ER, April 29th, 2021. Molly Brown, Rose Dishler, Harry Eisenstein, Philip Finkel, Celia Ginsburg, Eli Goldsmith, Marie Kevich, Sam Kozer, Sylvia Kruger, Isidore Naran, Samuel Rosenzweig, Murray Selsky. Jeffrey, did I miss anyone? Yortzeit and Mourners Kaddish, page 198. Gadal v'it kadash shemei rabah, be'alma divrach chirutei ve'amlich machutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, v'agalav v'zman kariv v'emu amen. Yehei shmei rabah mevorach le'olam olom le'olmaya. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה ברכו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה לאמירם בעלמה ועמו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועמו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום. Good evening. May be seated for a moment. My advice is anytime you get a chance to hear words of wisdom from Dr. Stephen David, take it, jump on it. Stephen, please share with us some words of thought and reflection. But you have to unmute yourself.
Okay.
Thank you.
I don't really have many words of wisdom, except to say I think all of us are following with strong interest what's going on in Israel, the inability of the Israelis to form a government because the parties can't get along, and the inclusion of so many small parties and extremist parties. And it's really calling to question the viability of Israeli democracy as it's being practiced today. A lot of proposals for reform, including raising the threshold by which small parties can become part of the Knesset. But I'll just say this, that, you know, when in America we bemoan the fact that we have two parties who can't get along and all kinds of political dysfunction and problems, having a parliamentary system may not be any better, and Israel is ample evidence of that. But at least on a positive note, Israel remains a democracy, remains a strong democracy, even in the face of war and extremism, and that's a minor miracle. So maybe a government will be formed, maybe there won't be another election, and maybe Israel can achieve some stability in the coming months and years.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. I have one question, if you don't mind. I just elaborating on the relationship with Iran as a current threat to an existential threat. What do you think will be there?
Well, I may be in the minority here, but I thought the Iran deal was a good one for Israel, in that it constrained Iranian nuclear developments for at least 10 to 15 years, imposed harsh inspection procedures, and at least kept Iran from getting a nuclear weapon for that time. Now that the Iran deal is not being followed, at least by the United States, and now by Iran as well, I mean, all bets are off. And Iran is free to make the kind of fuel for nuclear weapons that does indeed pose an existential threat for Israel. I'm hoping that a new agreement can be signed that will constrain Iranian ambitions, and that perhaps in the not too distant future, the Iranian people will have a voice in who their leadership will be, and it will not be the crazy mullahs, but a more reasonable leadership, which would do much to diminish the threat against Israel.
Beautiful. And now I understand why we come every day to pray, right there, Stephen.
Yes, well,
Come and
prayer
pray.
helps. That's
Indeed.
right.
Please, would you mind leading us in the evening services? Or you'd
Did
would
you
you
ask
rather-
me?
Yeah, would you rather not, or if you?
It would be, I just went to our favorite eye doctor. And,
Okay.
Indeed,
Indeed. I get that.
So I'm dilated up to here.
Yes.
So
Thank
perhaps
you.
next week.
All right. Indeed. Lauren, would you please lead us in the evening service? Page 200, we rise.
Thank you.
Thank you.
V'hurachum yikaper avon v'lo yashchit v'hir ba lahashiva po v'lo yair kol chamato Adonai Hoshia HaMelech Yanenu v'yom karenu Baruch hu et Adonai Hambarach Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam.
Page 200.
El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai Hama'aviv Aravim.
Amen. Avat olam, v'tisal v'av.
Yavta el tasir mimanu le'olami Baruch atah Adonai
Shemo.
Shema Yisrael.
Amen.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. V'yavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha u'kol nafshecha u'kol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha v'lechtecha v'aderech v'shakrucha v'kumecha v'shartam la'od al yadecha v'hayu l'totafot b'neinecha Uktavtam, Amazizot Beitecha, Uvi Sharecha. Hayat. Lema'an yirbu yemechem v'nechem al ha'adama asher nishba Adonai lavotechem latet lahem kimei hashamayim al haaretz. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor, daber el bnei Yisrael v'yamarta alehem, v'yasu lahem tzitzit al kanfei v'dehem l'doratam, v'natnu al tzitzit al kanaf patil techelet. V'yal lachem l'tzitzit uritem oto uzkartem et kol mitzvot Adonai v'asitem otem v'lo tacharu acharei levavchem v'acharei einechem, asher atem zonim achareihem. Lama'an tizkaru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai, Vitam kedoshim lelohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem lelohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Adonai Elohechem emet.
Francine, would you please read in the middle of 205? You need to unmute, please.
Thank you. We affirm the truth that He is our God, that there is no other, and that we are His people, Israel. He redeems us from the power of kings, delivers us from the hand of all tyrants. He brings judgment upon our oppressors, retribution upon all our enemies. He performs wonders beyond understanding, marvels beyond all reckoning. He has maintained us among the living. He has not allowed our steps to falter. He guided us to triumph over mighty foes, exalted our strength over all our enemies, indicated miracles for Pharaoh, with signs and wonders in the land of Egypt. In wrath, he smote all of Egypt's firstborn, bringing his people to lasting freedom. He led his children through divided waters, as their pursuers sank in the sea. When his children beheld his might, they sang in praise of him, gladly accepting sovereignty. Moses and the people Israel sang with great joy to the Lord.
U'malchuto baratzon kiblu alehem, Moshe b'nei Yisrael lecha anu shira b'simcha, rabba v'imru chulam. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, Nora tehilo tosei harav. Malchut hara'u v'necha bokei yam lifnei Moshe, Ze'eli anu v'yamru, Adonai yimloch le'olam ba'ed. V'ne'emar ki fadad Adonai et Yaakov, u'ga'alo miyad hazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai,
Shemo.
Yisrael.
Amen. Page 207, Francine, please.
Help us, our Father, to lie down in peace and awaken us to life again, our King. Spread over us your shelter of peace. Guide us with your good counsel. Save us because of your mercy. Shield us from enemies and pestilence, from starvation, sword, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings. You, O God, guard us and deliver us. You are a gracious and merciful King. Guard our coming and our going. Grant us life and peace now and always. Praised are you, Lord, eternal guardian of your people Israel.
Ushmor tzeitenu v'oenu l'chaim, u'shalom me'ata v'ad olam, Baruch atah Adonai,
Shemo.
Shomer amo Yisrael la'ad.
Amen.
Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen v'amen, Baruch Adonai
You're in the middle of page 206.
והמלכות שלך היא, ולעולמי עד תמלוך בכבוד, כי אין לנו מלך אלא אתה, ברוך אתה אדוני, המלך הודות תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד, ועל כל מעשיו.
Amen. We rise, page 208, Chatzi Kaddish.
יתקדש שמי רבה.
Amen.
יעמד יברכיותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומייכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בעגלה בזמן קריב ויאמרו
Amen. Yishmei Rabba Mevorach.
לעולם יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי לקדושה
Lecho.
לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תשבחתה ונחמתה, דמירה בעלמה, ויאמרו.
Amen. Yamida, silently, pages 210 to 220, we speak to God directly in silence.
Ose shalom bimramav, uyase shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru imru amen. Yase shalom, shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, shalom, shalom. Shalom Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael.
Kaddish Shalem, page 222.
Yitkadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Yamod yivrachiotei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'kol beit Yisrael v'agalav v'zman kari v'yimeru.
Amen. Yishmei Rabba Mevorach. Le'olam le'olam Yitbarach.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromah v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yithalel v'yithalal shmei d'kudashah.
Lecho.
Eila min kol birchata v'shirata tishbachata v'nechamata damira b'yama v'yimeru.
Amen.
Yitzavat sloton v'uton d'kol Yisrael kadam aluhon di v'shmaya v'yimeru.
Amen.
Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'achim alinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yimeru.
Amen.
Ose shalom bimromav hu yase shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimaru. Amen.
We turn to page 236 for the counting of the Omer. And as the page says, Firat HaOmer, if you read the paragraph on page 236, you'll see that there is an exclusive emphasis of Shavuot with Matan Torah, the giving of the Torah. That is not what the biblical narrative has. In fact, in the Torah, there is not a single connection between the Omer and Matan Torah. Shavuot is exclusively a pilgrimage festival, which is agricultural in nature. On the 50th day, we bring wheat that is made into flour, which is made into chometz challah, not to be brought up on an altar, and first fruits that are brought by the various farmers. Nonetheless, we are asked to count from Pesach to Shavuot, and we follow that. Last night, we counted number 32, which makes tonight's number a semi-holiday. In fact, generally one does not marry in the first weeks between Pesach and Lag BaOmer. And on Lag BaOmer is a very busy wedding day for many couples. And the interesting thing is that we are told that the positive thing about Lag BaOmer is that throughout the students of Rabbi Akiva who were in the army of Bar Kokhba were felled by various illnesses. On Lag BaOmer, the pandemic stopped and they recorded it as a day of joy. Let's read together on 237, the English, followed by the bracha, and followed by the proper date, which will be found on page 240. Together, please. I'm ready to fulfill the mitzvah of counting the Omer as it is ordained in the Torah. You shall count from the eve of the second day of Pesach, when an Omer of grain is to be brought as an offering, 7 complete weeks. The day after the 7th week of your counting will make 50 days. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kideshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat ha'omer. Hayom 33 yom, shehem 4 shavuot v'chamisha yamim la'omer. Today is 33 days, which are 4 weeks and 5 days to the Omer. We return back to page 224, Aleinu. Lauren?
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol, la'teit g'dula li'otzer b'shit, shelo asanu k'goyei haratzot, shelo somanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo som chalkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam, anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech malei ha'akim, hakadosh baruch hu. V'namar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yia Adonai echad u'shemo echad.
Thank you, Lauren. That was beautiful. We recall with love those who gave us life and shared life with us, whose yahrzeit is Erev Shabbat, the 18th of Iyar, April 30th, 2021. Following names are listed in our perpetual memorials. At Chizuk Amuno and are inscribed in our souls and our hearts. Lena Kaplan, Morris Mike H. Fink, Frida F. Gershon, Jacob Goldberg, Stanley Hoffman, Mamie Kirschbaum, Morris J. Kravitz, Morris Layton, Ethel H. Nelson, Dr. Riva L. Novi, Harry Sigelman, Yanka Aranka Weisgall. I was the wife of Chazan Weisgall at Chizuk Amuno. Yortzeiten Mourners Kaddish, page 226. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach chirutei ve'amlich machutei, v'chayachon v'yamechon v'chayei b'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kari ve'emo amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach, le'olam v'lo me'olmaya. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה ברכו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה לאמירם בעלמה ועמו אמן. היי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועמו אמן. עושה שלום בברומיו, והוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועמו אמן. Good evening. This concludes our services. Jay Finkel, thank you for your storytelling. Please God, next year you'll tell us more. Love to hear details. It's just so exciting to me, really. And Stephen, thank you for sharing with us and being with us and just being in fellowship. It's so kind. Tomorrow morning at 7:30, if I remember correctly, there's a Shabbat Shira. Jeffrey, what am I getting right?
Yes, there is a special Kabbalah tomorrow night. It's called Shabbat Zimra, and everybody, it will be both. It'll be a live performance by the cantor and two other musicians at the chapel entrance tomorrow at 6 p.m. Also transmitted over Zoom and live stream, so everybody can participate.
I would just share that the musicians that cantor Randy Herman has acquired are truly world-class, and be prepared for a lovely treat. And it's Lag BaOmer, it's a day of celebration. Please drive carefully, walk carefully, be safe, be good, and enjoy the weather.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Good
Good
night.
Lila
Good night.
Thank you,
Lila
Lila
Tov.
Toad, everybody.
Ashley,
Lila.